is our guest speaker today, and that is Sunny Bhanushali. Thank you, Sunny, for joining us today. Uh, I must tell you that I was inspired when I researched about Sunny. His article about him was published as recently as March 2024 in a very highly reputed business magazine, Forbes India. And there's full page coverage on him. And the journey that the magazine depicts is awe-inspiring. It's that rags to riches story. It is that story of patience, perseverance, and I think the performance that Sunny Bhanushali has done in his lifetime to create a business out of his passion. Not only that, the way he has opened up his mind to implement scaling up framework in his business has catapulted his business, and today his valuation is nearly 150 crores in tattoo business. Now, imagine what would have gone through his life journey, where we would have started. The idea of today's seminar is, in this article, one thing I must tell you, the article in Forbes magazine, it says the artist who sketched his way to success. Now, there cannot be any other better way to describe Sunny Bhanushali. Thank you, Sunny, for allowing us your presence in our knowledge sharing webinar that we conduct monthly. Thank you so much, Sunny, for your time. I am really, actually, I am awestruck when I read about it and when I had a chance to speak to you. Both these, I think, in my opinion, are quite important milestones in my life, in my career. Thank you once again for joining us. A big round of applause from all the guests and ladies and gentlemen to welcome Sunny Bhanushali. Although here you, but thank you, Sunny. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a great introduction. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I mean, it's quite interesting that I mean the kind of respect and the kind of honor I've been receiving from last 2-3 years due to all the publications, all the names going here and there. It's quite crazy because I never expected that to happen. By profession, I'm an artist and I live in my own small world. But now, from last 2 years, I've been there's a kind of a limelight on me, and then I'm everywhere for some reason. And Forbes have covered my story in brief, and they found something in me and my story, and that's the reason I'm there. I'm like more than happy to share my journey with you guys. If you have any questions, if you have any, I mean, you tell me how to go about it. Yeah,
we will. And this, it's not that for some reason that you're in the limelight. It's not some reason. It is your perseverance, your patience, and your performance, I think, that has catapulted you to this position. And it's not for any other reason. And we want to hear this exactly from you. You're rising from the place that you were in Mumbai. We would like to know from that onwards to maybe when you started tattoo. So this journey is a long journey. I'm sure this journey must have been full of thorns and full of bumps and obstacles. We want to know that part of the story of Sunny Bhanushali, which I think not covered anywhere else. So let us hear it from you.
Yeah, I'll give you a ride now. I'll start from childhood. So I don't come from really financially stable background. We have seen pretty hard times as a family, and when I was child, I would say luckily, the lowest point my family was into, and then I did not know the difference between like good times and bad times. Whatever I was experiencing back then, it was good for me because that was there. And I did not know, or there was no benchmarking or referencing ki kya sahi hai, kya galat hai. I mean, whatever was there, I was enjoying. So back then, I won't go too back because of फिर लंबा हो जाएगा. But then I would like to start from the point when I realized that, my family needs me. I need to go out and, look out for work and, do something for my family. Um, so I was good at art from the beginning. I loved art. It's my passion. It was all, I mean, drawing is something which I enjoyed all my life, and till date I enjoy it the most. Right? Till date I don't do it for money. It is something which comes from the heart. So whenever I used to have free time, or you talk about the play time of a kid or whatever, it was always around the colors and the drawing and the charcoal and stuff. So back then it was financially we were so challenged that it was hard to buy pencils and sharpeners and rubbers, and because I was facing a lot of issues, I so गर्मी में पता है वो लकड़े जला के used to get the heat.
Charcoal, yeah, that was.
So out of
I,
those wood, I used to take up the charcoal, and I used to draw and sketch with that, and people used to like it. And later, I was known for my charcoal art. It has come from that point because I started using charcoal back then, and now there are I would say, a handful people across India, across the globe, you can say, who actually use charcoal for their art. Very few people, but that's how it started because पेंसिल के लिए पैसे नहीं थे, चारकोल से काम चला है, कोल से काम चला है. I've seen my days drawing on streets, painting other boards, and hoarding होते हैं या दुकान के ऊपर boards होते हैं. Used to do whatever required to get an exposure, or to get this space where I can do my art. Never did it for money back then, but एक fun part था मेरे लिए. But then I think I was 14, 15 when I realized that I have to work for family, and that's when I started looking out for job. And my first job was of a sweeper. I used to clean shops. I used to grease the shutters. That was my job. First job. I used to make like 700 rupees in a month. Interestingly or luckily, I actually took my first job in a cyber cafe. तभी cyber cafe होते थे. So yeah, I took a job there, and in my free time, I was exposed to internet and computers. And I realized that my second love after art is technology. So I loved tech. Yeah. So वो सब cleaning होता था. Free time I used to put my head in computers, and then I used to spend more time there. The owner of the business realized that this guy is good, and I also happened to वहाँ का जो मैनेजर था वो चोरी करता था पैसे के, तो उसको मैं पकड़ा दिया, बोला यार पैसे चोरी कर रहे तेरे. So sometime he made me a manager. He asked me to manage the shop. So I got more time. I was there full time. So I got more time to learn through computers while I was taking care of the shop. Then I started looking out because I wanted to earn more, provide to my family. I started looking out for a job in call center. Basically, that was very new in Mumbai.
Correct. And good money.
The BPO sector was getting established back then. And then everybody was going there. I wanted to do it, but I had one issue one problem was I had a stammering issue. I could not say like a one line without stammering. My name is Sunny Bhanushali, बोलने के लिए मुझे 2 मिनट लगेंगे, वैसा हाल था.
Oh my God.
And then it was very challenging to go out every day with kind of no money. So I used to walk like 20 kilometers, 15 kilometers from Borivali to Malad, where the call centers was set up. And I used to give interview like 2 or 3 in a day, then go back walking, sometimes in bus without ticket. अगर पकड़ा गया तो देख लेंगे वैसा. And then I did this for 6 months straight. And I failed around like, I don't know, 48, 49 interviews in all before I cleared the first one. And that's when I got a job in a call center, in a BPO sector. And through those set of jobs, so every year or two I changed from there, they actually polished me. That entire sector industry, they actually made me a better person. So I learned a lot of things in that environment. while I was working, doing all night shifts and stuff. But then I learned sales. I was always hungry to learn. I always have this hunger inside me to learn new things, because I did not get a chance to go to college and do some stuff.
Yeah.
I was really good at studies, but वैसा बात नहीं बना. So I had this hunger कि कहीं से भी कुछ भी मिले ना तो पढ़ लूंगा मैं. So books पढ़ना बहुत easy था मेरे लिए. So when I got into this call center space, I started learning about sales, operations. जो भी वहाँ मिला उस सब I was consuming. I was very good, a great performer in that space. So from a stammering guy to being, 1 in 400, being at the top in sales, that is what I achieved in that space. And while all this was happening, art was still there. It was my free time thing, right? So whenever I had time, I would do art. And so I started doing all the charcoal painting and all that stuff. And I tried selling as well. I went to a lot of places to sell them. I have also sold a couple of paintings for really cheap cost. Like I used to sell it for like 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, whatever, the people used to give me. I used to sell it out. But while all of this was happening, one day my friend wanted to get a tattoo. That was the first time I heard about this term, tattoo.
Oh,
and then
wow.
he said, तेरे को भी छुट्टी है तो चल साथ में. I said, okay, I'll come with you. And then when I went there, I saw the entire process, how the tattoo was done. I was very fascinated by the entire process and the whole craftsmanship which I saw there. And I wanted to learn it. I wanted to try out that medium. So I asked that guy that, can you teach tattooing to me? And he was very blunt, rude, saying that, you don't have that thing in you to become an artist. उसका कहना है सारे लोग आर्टिस्ट नहीं बन सकते, सबका बात नहीं है. I said, ठीक है चलो मत सिखा, but if you can help me with the machine, the equipment, कहाँ मिलता है, किधर मिलता है, more information on that. He said, ये मेरा dad लंदन से लेके आता है, वहां से आता है, यहाँ से आता है, you won't find it in India. And then I came back, but that thing didn't go out of my mind. It stayed with me that I wanted to try this medium, and I was not doing still well as such कि जाके मैं 40,000 का किट लेके आया, वैसा कंडीशन में नहीं था मैं.
But
So I saved money.
Sunny, I will ask you. I'll go back to before we start this journey of identifying the hidden passion in you. I want to ask you one question. You said from 14 years you started painting and all that. Was this inborn? Were you taught by someone, or was this coming from within?
I would say it was from childhood. My brother is an artist. He don't do paintings and stuff now, but he's 12 years elder than me. But I saw him doing a lot of art when I was very small, and maybe that is the reason I picked up that stuff, because I used to use a lot of things what my brother used to use. Later, our family had a tragic event, and then everything went down. Then my brother got into other work and all that, and then वो रह गया. But then I never, I mean, it just stayed with me. I loved it.
And
it became my passion.
This story, when you said that you painted small things at 400, 500 rupees, that reminds me of another very famous artist in India, Hussein, who used to do cinema poster when he started at that time. But look at how things have panned out. But I think the most important part with you was that you remembered your initial call, the first call of as a person, as an artist, and you pursued despite working in a call center. How that
Yeah, I
was,
mean,
that must have been challenging.
I think that is your birthright. You should not let it go. I think everyone has this thing in them. It's just few people are, I don't want to be offensive, but you need to have that courage to follow it, right? I mean, you need to have
absolutely.
this,
Big lesson.
I have this internal conversation happens within you, and listen to that voice and then stick to it. Everybody has something, right? Which there is always a whisper within you that that you are meant for
Absolutely,
something, or you
Sunny.
do something.
Yeah. And then let's go, to the your first interaction with that shop and the discouraging thing that happened, and after that.
No, I'm thankful that he said that. uh, that I can't do it because I was young. Kind of उसने ego hurt कर दिया, so उसको भूल नहीं पाया, मैं आज तक नहीं भूला.
सही है.
But that worked for me. So I went back, started saving money, saved money for 6 months, got my first machine ka setup, which is called tattoo kit. Um, Came back home, did my first tattoo on my leg,
Oh,
and yeah, the moment I finished it, I realized that I did not damage the skin, and it is completely fine. Um, and then I got confidence in next 2-3 days that it has healed well. I started tattooing on my friends, family, colleague, जो भी मिलता है उसके ऊपर tattoo start कर दिया.
free.
Out of, uh, I mean, it was just like any other art form which I was enjoying. I was still working. I had my dreams to become a team leader and then operations manager in the BPO
Call
sector.
center.
That was another side, yeah. But then this was something which again, my free time on a day off, I would do tattoos for my friends and family. And it continued until the day came when somebody paid me 700 rupees for a session without me asking for it. And he said, Rakh le. And then another time somebody paid me 1200 rupees, bola rakh le. And then another time somebody paid me something and rakh le. And a point came when that rakh le wala paisa was more than my salary,
Oh,
right? And then I realized that now
is it
I have to move now, right? And then there is also one more reason why people actually lined up uh, at my house for tattoos. Um, the reason is I'm a curious guy, right? And being an artist, I have this vision inside me. If I'm in pain, if I'm happy, if I'm anything, I start seeing things in my head in certain way. So even when I read stories, I can visualize certain things. I think that this capacity is with everyone. I'm no special in that case, but then I'm the one who can bring it on the paper. So because I am an artist, I was good at drawing. I was able to, bring those visions on paper. So what I was, I hated the term God back then because I didn't like the man-made God which we have created. But I had this continuous feeling that there is some higher force within us flowing all
yeah.
the time, which we don't understand what is it, right? So there is no
Mm.
point debating on that. Ki who is God, what is God, how does he look
Uh,
or she look? So because I was hating the man-made stuff, I was also reading about it
okay.
because I wanted to know more about it. There has to be something more. So I used to read Bhagavad Gita. I used to read, watch Ramayana, जो अपना TV पे
Yeah,
रामायण महाभारत
serial.
चलता था.
Uh,
And then I
uh,
used to visualize if these are human beings, how would they be in real sense at that era? And then I was able to convert those characters into a very different kind of characters, which we call now a concept art, right?
okay.
तभी ये कॉन्सेप्ट आर्ट ऐसा कुछ वर्ड हम लोग को पता नहीं था. मैं ट्राई करता था यार, इतने अगर 5,000 साल पहले का इंसान जब बिल्डिंग्स और ये नहीं था तो कैसा दिखता होगा एंड ऑल दैट. एंड देन आई started मेकिंग different versions of Shiva, Buddha, different versions of Brahma and all that. And वो डिजाइन्स है ना लोगों को अट्रैक्ट करने लगे because people never saw something like that. There was this कैलेंडर का शिव पार्वती जी का लोगों ने देखा है पर उसके
Correct,
बियॉन्ड कुछ आर्ट
correct,
देखा नहीं था
बिल्कुल.
मेजरली. And I was fascinated by the all the Hollywood movies and the kind of character designing they do. I was trying to bring that character designing into our mythology. I started designing that, and that went into tattooing. वो ऐसे कर करके धीरे धीरे लाइन लगने लगे because nobody was doing it. Even my tattooing was not that great, but my art was great.
Okay.
It was very solid back then. A lot of my art was picked up by a lot of t-shirt companies. They were selling t-shirts and mugs and stuff. वो टाइम इतना copyrights और ये सब था नहीं कुछ.
Fine.
So I got kind of famous because of my art with the kind of concepts which I designed back then. And because I was into that cyber cafe space, I learned a lot of things. I also learned programming, PHP, HTML, और वो कभी छूटा नहीं मेरे से. I kept doing it. And a time came when I left my job and went for this full time. The business dropped because mostly सारे clients ना office से ही आते थे. अभी ऑफिस ही
Oh,
नहीं रहा तो कस्टमर्स नहीं रहे. The
oh, okay.
moment, so moment that happened, I realized that I cannot go back to job, but I need to start building something around it. And I had no clue कैसे जाना है. I picked up couple of books, business books. I started reading it. Went on internet, started reading it, and first thing I did is built my own website from scratch and started using social media. Very new back then. Orkut था तभी, Google का.
Yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
was like from the I think second or the third month I've been using Facebook
So
after
that's
the
20
launch.
years ago. Yeah, nearly
Yeah,
20 years ago.
yeah, तो इसके ऊपर nobody knew कि तो वहाँ post क्या करना है. Even I had no clue, but I started posting my art back then. ये tattoos के फोटो डाल दिए, art के photos डाल दिए, वहां से ही लोग उठा के सब t-shirts और वहां सब चल रहा था. And then people started following me for my art. And they started commenting, so in a way I was getting viral effect back then.
One
I did
lakh
not know.
followers you have on YouTube. I saw that today. This for the information of the audience. 1 lakh followers on YouTube channel that Sunny Bhanushali has. Yes, please continue. I just wanted to declare this because you didn't say I wanted to say this to everyone present here because it's so awful. Awesome, in fact.
Thank you,
Yeah.
so much. So it picked up from there. People started connecting with me through all the channels. I started realizing that I need to create an experiential space for the people who were coming to get a tattoo because I was doing it from home. And then a point came that the number was enough to start my own studio outside, not do at home. And then we started looking out for the shop. And me and my wife, we were coming from some place, and we saw one shop in Oshivara, and we actually inquired for it. It was very, very expensive, but then I was always a dreamer. I did not understand a mediocre way of things. मुझे घर वाले शेख चिल्ली बोलते थे, शेख चिल्ली की औलाद.
You are
उसका
Mr. Rohit.
उसका
Yeah.
Yeah.
रीजन ये उसका
I am
रीजन ये
asking,
था कि
your
मेरे
reference has been given to me by a friend of mine, my CA circle.
Yeah, please continue. I have muted it.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
So
Please continue.
अच्छा, so where was I?
Sheikh Chilli.
Yeah, Sheikh Chilli. So I I I I was always a dreamer. So घर पे जब मैं बातें करता था तो सैलरी थी 25,000 और मैं बोलता था that I'll own a BMW 7 Series. I'll have like a 6 BHK house and we'll fly this. I'll go to Dubai and do the shopping and all that. और ये बातें सुन के इन लोगों को टेंशन आता था कि यार ये क्या बोल रहा है ये यहाँ
पागल हो गया
यहाँ.
क्या?
हाँ. But then I mean, that was the way I used to visualize my future. And the moment I saw that shop, it was out of my budget and out of my haysiyat as well. But then I couldn't help but I can't go and open a mediocre low level shop. मेरे
Yeah.
से match नहीं हो रहा था. First, I took some loan from outside. I actually built the place. I invested heavily in it. वो time का वो heavy था जो भी मैंने invest किया था. And I built a studio which didn't look like a tattoo studio. So I did not like the way this industry was operating
Was
or
working. Yes,
the
yes, we
kind
will
of a
come to that point. Yes, exactly. I also wanted to share with audience one very, very good thing that I just recollected now. When this article, Sunny had imagined that he wanted to be published in a famous business magazine about a couple of years ago, at 2 years, 3 years before, and he had penned it down that this should happen in so much of time. And look at the manifestation. And the article in Forbes magazine appeared in March 2024. Now, I understand, Sunny, you had a very forward thinking, high level thinking, and all that. Where did this scaling up thing came into the picture? You had big aims, you had big plans, you had big ideas. How that happened?
I'll give you a fast forward from the point I stopped the conversation. So the moment we had the first shop, it worked. The first month we made a lot of money. And then I realized I need more artists. I started looking out for artists. And then from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 10, 20. Now we are at close to 200 people. So it didn't stop from that point. From one studio, we opened a couple of them, failed. Um, I think, well, I failed more than anybody else, I feel, in my life. So we opened a lot of shops, closed down a lot of shops, lost a lot of money, but then we learned through the
Absolutely.
process that what it takes to actually run the um, multi studio operations. Currently, we have 16 outlets, and scaling up framework has played a very important role in bringing uh, peace to me uh, while running the company.
Rightly said. Yeah.
Right.
Mm,
So I'll come to a point where I was in a situation that I was looking out for something which will help me. So when we scaled up really fast. So from 2022, sorry, 21 it started right after the COVID. 21 say 24 tak we went from 3 studios to 16 studios,
wow.
right? And
Wow. All over the
we
country.
have all over the country. And we are an experiential uh,
Tour. Yeah, yeah.
premium luxury brand. We are not like any other tattoo studio.
It's worth
So
visiting the YouTube site of Sunny to see how the studio looks. I saw that. Fabulous. Yes, please.
thank you. So what we are trying to create is the space which is very experiential, very premium. Um, it is very unlike any other tattoo studio or a idea of a tattoo studio. The moment you talk about a tattoo artist or a studio, you have this image ki grunge, हुलिया रहेगा, dreaded बाल रहेंगे, and then all tattooed यहाँ वहाँ pierced होगा. एक तो artist ऐसे होता है, या फिर स्टूडियो में जाओगे तो थोड़ा dark रहेगा, खोपड़ियाँ विपड़ियाँ लटकी रहेंगी यहाँ वहाँ, skulls and bones and stuff, right? That is what you see on TV, so people relate to that.
Correct.
And I wanted to create a space where this is taken it as an art form and not a cult. This was again connected to the crime, underground activities,
Correct.
gangs and stuff, right?
Mm,
I wanted to get away from that. I wanted to create a new image for the entire industry. And I created a tattoo studio which looks like a five-star hotel, but a dispensary ka hygiene at the same time, right? It
wow.
has to be
What a comparison.
very experiential, warm, welcoming, where actually mothers and fathers can bring their daughters and sons for tattoo. So ऐसा space होना चाहिए, that kind of trust level we can gain out of the families who actually are dreaded by the word tattoo, and then
Correct.
we make them feel that this is an art piece and not a cult. So when we started building this, we did not have any reference point or any a framework or a reference to follow, because we are the only people in this space
Correct.
who are leading right now, and being a leader is hard because you don't have something
To
to
compare.
refer to, right?
Correct.
And then you fail more because you're leading, you're number one, so you have to fail more times क्योंकि failure का reference भी नहीं है किसी और का. तो ये करने में setting up the operations, we tried lot of different frameworks from different industries, but it didn't fit well. And we kept trying, failing. Then we realized यार इसके उससे से नहीं, अपना कुछ अलग बनना पड़ेगा इसके लिए. And I was, because I don't come from MBA ka space, or I did not have this formal education or understanding of it. Apart from all the books which I've read so far, I realized that I need either someone who can come in and actually, help me sort this out, because there was a lot of chaos running these outlets, or maybe some way to go about it, some framework. And then because I'm into books, I happened to stumble upon this one book, Scaling Up. And I read the book. I was very, it just connected to me. I felt कि
Wow.
भगवान ने बुक हाथ में दे दिया मेरे को, भाई ये ले और इसको यूज
Wow.
कर, राइट. अब मैंने बोला यार ये पढ़ने सुनने में तो बहुत जबरदस्त लग रहा है, बट I need somebody who has actually executed all the ideas
Done
which are there
this.
in the book,
Correct.
right? वो पढ़ने में अच्छा लगा, but how do I go
Mm,
about it? Half of the terms are very new for me, being an artist. And then I got a reference from the book. um, Ajay का reference था उसमें, and then I just took it and made a call. and said, "Yeah, I explained him the whole story that what's happening." He said, "Let's do it. I'll start with the workshop. You take the workshop, bring your best team, all team members, and if you think it is good enough, we can take it ahead and start implementing the framework." We went through the workshop. Everybody loved it. My core team was in. KR kar lete. I think this will
कितने लोग थे core
bring.
team में?
I think there were 5-6 people back then. 6 people, I guess. 6 to 8 people.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
And then and all these people, core team बोलने के लिए है, but there are people like me, right?
सब
उसमें से
artist,
2
सब
आर्टिस्ट
creative.
है, कोई मार्केटिंग का बंदा है, कोई है, बट वो खुद ही फिगर आउट कर रहे हैं सब. And that's when it all started. Ajay came in, and once we finished the workshop, we were completely in for the implementation of the framework. And after that, all the exercises which we did and regular guidance जो मिला है, and very वो बोलता है ना, एक्सपर्ट का, मेंटोर का जब हाथ आता है ना, जो अपने स्पेस में एक्सपर्ट होता है, I mean you pick up the pace then. When you drop off all the experimentation required to figure out all those things which actually mentor tells you. So it became very easier, and it got very smooth for us. And then there are so many concepts in the book. I'll be very honest, we didn't implement all of it, but we picked up major things out of it. Right? One is, do you want me to continue, or you have to ask anything?
Yes, please. That's the interesting part. I think the audience
Okay.
must know the journey that you had with scaling up.
Right. So I think the most impactful part of the book and the training and the mentorship was helping us become aware of the difference between strategy building and execution.
Wow.
Right. That is one thing which actually helped me a lot as a founder. And then we used to do a lot of firefighting. All my life I've been firefighting, I feel.
Correct.
And then uska habit bhi ho gaya tha mujhe. And then Ajay came in and actually said, "Bhai, ruk ja. No more firefighting. We'll have to organize everything, give it a shape and size, and सब सही उसको करना पड़ेगा. ये सब एक साथ मत भागो." हमारे यहाँ क्या हो रहा था, लगान की टीम होती है ना, एक बॉल के पीछे सब भागते हैं. So that was happening, right? So there is a problem, the entire team is on the other side. There is the next problem, the entire team is on the next problem. And then Ajay actually guided us. The first thing we worked on is, after the smaller exercises, first thing we did is sat and worked on the strategy.
OPSP,
long
one page
term
strategic plan.
OPSP, perfect. आज भी हम वही use करते हैं, right?
Okay.
Every year we sit and work on the OPSP, and then
Even now,
we
after
continue
3-4
from
years.
Yeah. It's
Excellent.
just we have a little different format. We have skipped couple of areas, but still it is OPSP, very simple, easy document to follow, and very clear. When we come in together and sit for a meeting, it's very easy to follow one document. एक दो पेज में पूरा चिट्ठा सामने रहता है.
Absolutely.
Right? And it brought clarity to what exactly we want. नहीं तो आपको तो सब चाहिए रहता है. And then we
Yeah.
realize you can't run for everything at once. It has
Correct.
to be thoughtfully designed properly. So what is the topmost priority, and how to go about it? And then when we started building strategy, lot of clarity आने लग गया. I think सबसे ज्यादा टाइम उसमें ही गया हमारा, because
Obviously, right.
we did not know how to go about it, and then Ajay was slowly helping us to build it. And once we had our first version of OPSP, I think half of the job was done for us. I'll be very honest.
Wow.
Because we had like crystal clarity आने लग गया business में, तो what exactly we want, and more importantly what we don't want, क्या drop कर दो. That was more important than what we wanted, right? And then we picked up certain things which are like most important, high priority. I think heavy lifting जहाँ लग रहा था वो surface में आने लग गया, and then we started working around it. जैसी strategy आ गया, handling
the same team worked, and they understood, everyone understood the framework, and they started following the framework piece by piece. They started picking up and running it in the organization with rest of the 200 people. How did it work?
basically, initially we did not understand every bit of it. Let me be very honest. But then when you
Yes.
when you choose a mentor, you have to trust him or her, right? And my people trusted me. I trusted Ajay for what's coming. So he said कि इस तरीके से ही होता है, उस तरीके से होता है. तो we actually surrendered to the process for some time, and that is important. When you ask some expert to come in and help, वहाँ अगर
Yeah.
अपना झंडा गड़ाते बैठेंगे तो फिर काम नहीं होगा.
Yeah.
So
And then you started
that is the
seeing
most
results also. Yeah.
we did. We did. Again, I'll be very honest. सीधा सीधा अगर आपको चाहिए कि अरे फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स आए कि नहीं, आई वुड से नो, क्योंकि एक साल में नहीं आ सकता इतना जल्दी, बिकॉज द एंटायर कल्चर वाज शिफ्टिंग. 150 लोग को लेके कल्चर शिफ्ट करना मेरे ख्याल से एक साल कम होता है पहले तो.
बिल्कुल.
And we thought it's going to be a very short and easy run, पर वैसा नहीं हुआ. The concepts when it was explained and when we started implementing, it took time more than we thought. But it worked. Everything worked, right? We are now seeing the results, and results are really good. But when we started, it was hard because it's like when you build a organization which has more than 100 people, that organization has its own personality.
Absolutely.
And the culture and values are the part of it. Now, when you realize that, अरे यार अपना character, culture, values and personality में ही गड़बड़ है, to change the personality, there is so much shifting which has to be taken. So वो shift हम लाने लग गए. The moment we got clarity on the strategy side, strategy में एक और एक बहुत important part था. मैं strategy का part बोलता हूँ, but book में अलग part है, that's people, right?
Yes.
I think the book says that it has like four pillars, and one is strategy,
People is one
second
of them.
is people,
Yes.
yeah, and third is execution, and fourth is finance, I guess. I don't remember.
Yes.
Remember
You're
all
right.
of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But for us, the strategy and the people worked well for
Most
us.
important.
Through training and through continuous support of Ajay, and I also referred to a couple of books which were mentioned in the book.
Oh wow!
Top
amazing.
grading करके एक है, top
Yes.
grading करके एक book है, and then The Who, that's the second book, which is in the section of people, and I picked it up. I read it all because it was easier for me to understand what Ajay was speaking, because I also went through those books, तो जल्दी grasp कर रहा था मैं. The people part helped a lot because we learned how to identify the talent, the right talent, and the strengths and weaknesses of each person. तो हमने क्या realize किया, हम हर इंसान को same ability capacity में है या same ability है सोच के सब काम सब में बांट देते थे. Now later, once we went through the exercise, I realized that some people are good at something. I should be pushing them doing that stuff and not the other stuff, right? And there are a couple of exercises. We started mapping A, B, C, A plus players and all that stuff.
A players and B players and C players. Oh
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
that's great.
So we realized that we had people between A and B, more of B, more of somewhere in between, because we had great people, because they were all aligned with all the values and very strongly attached to the company. दिल से काम करने वाले लोग, but not very skillful. Because वो skill development का culture भी नहीं था, training और ये सब पे ध्यान था नहीं हमारा, है ना? Hiring भी ऐसी होती थी कि पसंद इंसान अच्छा लगा तो hire कर लो, काम कर लेगा. But then later I realized that we need to bring in a right set of people. We have to look for people with the right set of job description
skill
लिखना,
set. Yes.
का interview लेना, उनका behavior समझना, competency समझना. That was all new for us. And with that thing, we also hired a couple of people around it, and then it helped. From that framework, आज भी जो चल रहा है, the people side has become, I would say, 3x stronger than before.
Wow,
And
that's the most
it all
great.
yeah. So I was really good at finding right people for my business in terms of how well they are connected to the brand, right? वो मैं कर पाता था, पर मेरे को competency और skill set I did not get it much. And then because I'm a founder, I'm in every different function, and we did not have a very strong HR back then. And still I'm the one who takes the call on hiring. But now we are much more equipped with the tools and the techniques and the framework so that it's easier for us to find the right talent. And we also realize that the good talent comes with good price.
Yes.
सस्ते में talent मिलता नहीं है.
Absolutely.
Very
nice.
Yeah, please.
This is an amazing thing. We are just at the close of time, but there is so much to know from you. I think 1 hour for this webinar is not enough. Sunny, there's one thing that you said right in the beginning, and I want to ask this question before we go to the question and answer from the audience, is you said after implementing scaling up, life became easy.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me how that scaling up framework helped in making your life easier with so much of cacophony, so much of noise around, and so much of unorganized things happening. What made that happen?
So maybe I was the stupidest or stupid person to run the company, but everything went through me. Being a founder, everything had to happen through me. सारे approvals मेरे को ही देने हैं.
Correct.
It could be a marketing ka, copywriting, or finalizing the artwork, or can be an ad campaign or marketing campaign, can be some accounting ka cheese. Everything was connected to me, right? And I think I'm still bad at delegating things, right? I don't know how to give up things, give up the power, and give somebody power. And I learned that from the scaling up framework, that I can't do everything. I can't be a part of it because I have this mental energy ka capacity utna hi. I start taking bad decisions after a certain point of time, and I need a team who are leaders in their own functions. I cannot be leader everywhere. ये मेरे को वहां से ज्यादा समझने लग गया because I did not manage a larger team. So that actually had brought a lot of peace because now I have function heads for every function, and they are leading their own teams. I'm not jaake tang nahi adata mein. They do their work. I give them space. They come back with better results than I can, right? So you should not be the smartest person in the team. That is what I have learned from the framework. If I am the smartest person in the team, then that's a problem.
We should not be in the room then in that case.
You need a team of smarter people. You can't be the smartest.
Very nice. And then there's one other thing that leaves me. You were impressed by the strategic plan. What made you execute that as per the strategy that you've decided? Just an answer to this question, then we go to question and answer session. Meanwhile, a request for all the audience, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box and we'll take them as they come on the chat box after Sunny answers this question about execution. So
I did not get the question completely. That what made me execute the strategy?
You planned your strategy. The strategy was done after a lot of iteration and discussion with Ajay and with your team members. But that strategy was still on paper, on 2 pages, on single page. How you translated into?
I don't know how to put it, but then the strategy is a plan of execution, right? So it's not something which is off execution. I mean, it's the plan of execution, right? So you have planned something, you have put the things in place. हमने 3 साल का लिखा, फिर साल भर का हम लिख रहे हैं. Then you pick up like every quarter का plan, and then you break it to monthly, and the monthly goes into weekly to certain people. Now people are instructed and given the job कि यार ये तेरे को 3 चीज करके आना है, and take care of your KPIs and the structure which we have finalized. And in one room, you agree with other people. Is it fine for you? If they say, yes, these are my KPI accepted, and these are my priorities to make sure it is done in time. And if he accepts, he goes out and starts executing it. It's a plan of execution, right?
So there was nobody who had some other thoughts कि भाई मुझसे ये नहीं हो पाएगा and this is too much for me and I'm not in line with this. My thoughts are different. I want to think in that manner. वैसा ऐसा some
See, that meeting is important, right? So this
correct
book, actually, this book and the overall book में बहुत सीधा सीधे लिखा है, but then we learned more from Ajay
the hard way.
that the hard way, that the meeting का rhythms जो है and the communication का
Absolutely.
जो flow है, hierarchical flow जो है, it's very important, or else your system will be broken. The
Yes,
execution में that this communication and this feedback loop is very important, right? So what we
you hit the
discuss,
answer. Yes,
so what we discuss now or this week, we go out, we execute, and we come back with the feedback. अरे क्या काम किया क्या नहीं. अभी ये मीटिंग जो होने वाला है, when they come back, वहां आप बोलेंगे यार मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है, ये तूने जो रखा है वो ज्यादा है, हमने सोचा था वो नहीं हो सकता. And then we start adjusting all the priorities
yeah,
and the KPIs, right? So basically the system is evolving. You can't just decide one day in the year कि हमने
absolutely.
decide किया वैसे ही होगा. So
Hmm.
whatever you plan, make a strategy at the beginning of the year, for example. You might not end with the same plan at the end of the year. That plan is going to evolve maybe through weeks and
Yes,
months, right? Because you will, once you go out, you realize that यार हमने जो सोचा था शायद ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा अलग है. But and then that is important. So going out, executing, coming back with the feedback, having these regular meetings and discussions, and that's
that
execution,
helps.
right?
So you're saying is that you make a plan, and then if there along the way, quarter or somewhere you want, there is tweaking required, market situation has changed, or something has happened differently in your industry. So there is a possibility for everyone to get together and plan it all over again.
So there are two things, right? One is something is more like an engine, which is experimented, refined, and implemented now, and that is running smooth. So somebody has to just look at the meter और उसके नंबर देखना है बराबर चल रहा है कि नहीं. Those are your like
Hmm.
KPIs. ये इसको maintain करते जा, इतना सेल लेके आ, इतना ये होने दे, इतना consultation होने, all that stuff. And then there is this other part where you talk about the growth, where you don't know outside क्या मिलने वाला है उसका response. You have to you plan for it. अरे हम जाके 10 दुकान खोल देंगे और हम ऐसा लोकेशन ढूंढेंगे, ये रेंट में है, पर मे बी रेंट में 1 लाख रुपए ऐड हो गया तो क्या.
Correct.
So you don't know. So the one part is that there is this engine you set up and it runs on its own, and then you need somebody to monitor it
Monitor.
properly, measure it, right?
Absolutely.
If
Hmm.
something is off, you come back as a feedback like that something is off. And another area is thoda sa dark area. Till you discuss in, it's a part of a strategy, but you don't know that it exists as we think. That part evolves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Excellent. I think the few things that you mentioned, my take from this conversation, Sunny, is that you are an avid reader. One most important thing to make a life like you have done yourself. There's no easy way out, and you work in stores and uh, cafes, and it's amazing. And the way you have evolved yourself, I'm sure
Thank
your
you.
team also would be as inspired as I am today after talking to you, Sunny. Thank you very much. In the
Thank you.
view of the time constraint, I had many other questions to ask you, Sunny, but we'll keep it for some other day. But let's have some questions from the audience. And may I request Sandesh, please, to say if there are questions, and please come on screen to handle the question and answer session, Sandesh.
Yes, thanks, Rajesh. Yes, we have a few questions coming from the audience. Let me read them one
Please.
by one. So, Sunny, the first question is from Sadanand. He's asking about your website. So, what all went into making such a beautiful and thoughtful website? So, he loved your website, literally.
It comes from the concept of thinking backwards. It's an Amazon story. You think about the customer's experience in context of your product, and then design it backward. That what is required, right? So I always keep my customer in mind while designing anything. We are very experiential. Like Alien Tattoo is very known for the experience we provide. We wanted to replicate that experience on the website as well. And our website was not that great as such, but then again it's evolving. Every year we upgrade it, update it, with new things based on the feedback we receive from all the people who are connected to the customers. So that's the base of it. बाकी तो design के लिए तो you will find great talent out there to design it.
Yeah, thanks, Sunny. The second question is from Aditya, who is from Pope's Marshall. Aditya, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to read your question correctly. So Aditya wants to ask, so because each artist is so unique, okay, when you have these artists, how do you identify them in terms of their skill set? How do you distinguish between them, for example? So the ones who are working for you.
So we are an art company. The biggest team we have is of artists, and we don't act. So the given is you need to be very skillful in terms of art. फिर वो art में sketching हो सकता है, concept artist हो सकता है, tattooing हो सकता है, कुछ भी चलेगा. So once we know that he is good at drawing, doesn't matter if he is specializing in anything or not, but if he is good at drawing, the first thing we look at is the personality, the character. Is he a fast learner? So हम लोग value से connect करते हैं.
Wow,
Is
amazing.
he someone who will come in and actually adapt to the requirement of the company? Is he inclined towards serving the customers? Because we follow a servant leadership, is a part of our values. अगर उसको servant बनना नहीं आता ना, कितना भी अच्छा artist हो हमारे team का part नहीं बन सकता. If he's not humble enough, because the artist का problem है, they are kind of rude, they're kind of, they have a different character, attitude थोड़ा सा होता है, and it's hard then. So we are very, very sensitive and very clear in terms of what exactly we want from a person. एक बार art final हो गया, उसके बाद भी बहुत सारा areas है which we will make sure that this person is aligned to our company, because he's going to become an alien, a part of alien's tattoo, right? So he has to feel the beat. He's going to become a part of our DNA. So he's not just an artist working as an employee. No, here nobody's employee. All our partners, everybody is working on one vision, including me. So he has to fit in, aligned with the culture. That is the most important part. क्योंकि artist थोड़ा कच्चा भी रहेगा ना, सीख लेगा. Because we have this space where we have our own school. So we make artists, right? हम लोग तो platform बना के रखे. So we know that अगर कच्चा रहेगा वो भी बना लेंगे हम. But we won't be able to change the character. It's important.
So good. Excellent answer.
I have another one, which is coming from Mr. Udayan, who is part of the IB school. So what is the biggest value addition to you and your business, especially coming from scaling up?
I'll give you numbers to jaldi connect hoga. So that's a easy analytical answer. So first year we did not see a growth because we took time to implement the framework. It took time. It was not easy for us because we were a bunch of artists going around it. But we went from 11 crores to 32 crores. That's one good sign for you.
Yes.
And apart from that, I get to sleep more than before because of the framework. I used to sleep for 6 hours. I used to sleep at 10, 11 and used to get up at 4:30. Now I happily sleep till 8:30. So that's because of the framework. I used to start my day at 4:30. I have done this for almost 7 years. I started day at 4:30, 5:30. I used to be on my computer working, making plans, going across. Before the team comes, I was ready with everything. So it stopped. Now I can sleep, and there are days when I wake up and don't know nothing about what's happening. And when I visit the company and office and I see everything, or the entire engine is working on its own.
Wow.
That's a kind of a dream come true.
Great.
Wonderful. So in fact, scaling up has 3 brand promises to make more cash flows, more time, and more fun. So looks like all of them met in this case.
अच्छा, तो ये याद नहीं था पर pretty aligned.
Yes. Thank you, Sunny. So the next question is from Miss Dimple. She's asking, what did you visualize while forming the core values? I think very interesting question for that.
I have come from really lower side of our economy, and right, so चोर उच्चों के लोगों के साथ रह के आया हूँ, and then I was programmed like that. My mind was programmed like that all my life. Whenever I saw Mercedes, 2 नंबर का धंधा होगा उसका. That was the idea way back for me, right? कोई भी पैसे वाला देखे उसका बाप पैसे वाला रहेगा. So that kind of mentality. And then money used to shine because never had money. किसी के हाथ में नोट देगा तो extra glow होता because of the past and from where I come. But the moment I started reading the books actually opened up my mind. And the more I read, the more I learned out of it. And I happened to, so the first book I read was game changing for me. It was Think and Grow Rich. It talks about the personality, and it talks about how you can become successful just by changing your thoughts, right? And उसके अंदर कुछ रेफरेंस बुक्स थे, वो पढ़े, उसके बाद पढ़ते गया, and then I started reading a lot of autobiographies. How all these world के leading famous entities, उनके दिमाग में क्या चलता था? And then I started picking up all the ideas. Right now, my mind is filled with all the books I have read. It is not my mind, because what my mind is now, it's gone because वो कुछ काम का था नहीं. It's all cleaned up. So I have all the new information in me. So all the successful companies, successful people have a kind of a pattern of thinking. The way they will deal with people, the way they would take care of their teams, family, people, world, organizations. उनका एक तरीका है सोचने का. I started implementing that. So all the values have come out of that. आपके लिए एक reference, बहुत अच्छा reference देता हूँ, which that one book has inspired me and changed my life is, it is connected to building great culture at companies, is Netflix ka book hai, No Rules. This is the book.
Yeah. Oh yes, agree.
Yeah. So you should read this, and you'll have a better clarity on how to build a great culture of a company where people actually become company owners. सोचो 200 लोग कंपनी ओनर बन जाए और सब लोग अपना बोल के काम करे. There is a different kind of energy.
Oh yes.
You can't do it all alone, and you need that from these people. People don't work for money. पहला तो ये हटा दो. If somebody is asking for more money to work, there is a problem in the culture. Company culture इतना सही नहीं है. People are more driven by a stronger vision and something which is larger than life, something which is beyond money. People connect more emotionally there. The moment you throw incentives, या पैसा या bonus, you actually वो लोग ने जो दिल से काम किया है ना, जो invaluable है वो, you start paying them for that. बहुत ही नीचा चीज हो जाता है फिर मेरे लिए. आप पैसे से किसी का सर्विस नहीं खरीद सकते. If you come and request me for an art, I will do it from my heart. पर अगर मेरे साथ पैसा बात करने लगोगे तो मेरे में हिम्मत है ना भी बोल दूं. ठीक है ना, पैसे के लिए नहीं करने, क्या है, पैसे हो सकता है.
True.
So my people actually work for a vision which is larger than life, which is beyond money, and money becomes a byproduct of the work. So more दिल से जितना काम करो उतना जबरदस्त काम होता है. And because your work is great and going towards providing value to the market, the money has to come. कहाँ जाएगा?
Sure.
So the more money comes in, people are paid out of celebration. Ajay sir को पता होगा, when he joined in, everybody was thinking of bringing incentives, and I was the only person against it. I said I don't want to do it because I don't want to incentivize किसी का ये काम. Let them do it from heart, or else don't work with me. And then it worked, and right now we are in that space where we are proud to say that we are paying up to the industry standards for all the levels in our company. A time was there when Ajay entered where we were paying less than the industry standards, poorly paid, thoda sa bol sakte, and people were still happy and enjoying. Right now we are happy to say that we are par standards, Abhi. And people are still not connected with money and people are still enjoying it.
You are the standard, Sunny. No industry in standard. You are the standard. I think we are already done the time. There are few other
I know.
questions in the chat box which we will send to you, Sunny. And if you get a chance to answer them, please do so, and we will post it back to our audience members. And
I can do that.
thank you very much. In the interest of time that we have agreed to, we will close the seminar now, the webinar now. Thank you, everyone in the audience who are still with us. I hope you have enjoyed the journey of that enigmatic, the charismatic, and that perseverance man, the man with a mission, Sunny Bhanushali. I enjoyed it personally extremely well, but I think this time was much, much less than what uh, maybe in future we have a chance to interact again, Sunny, and get to know more about you, about your operations, about your business, about your other passions. Thank you very much for, ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen. I now hand over to Ajay. Ajay, last comments.
To Sanjay, first of all, again, Sunny, thank you very much. Wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Sandesh, quick review.
Yes.
Please hang on. I request everyone to please hang on. And
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sunny, for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining us. A quick announcement. So you must have heard Sunny telling how when Ajay and Scaling Up became part of Alien Tattoo, things changed. So as a business owner, we see that as we grow, as we scale up, things becomes very challenging. There are a lot of noise, there are a lot of things to manage, and the first time we are hosting a workshop, a one-day workshop, which will be led by Ajay Hiraskar on 15th of June. So this is something which is a wonderful opportunity, I would say, for anyone who wants to explore and understand what scaling up is all about. The 4 pillars is where Ajay is going to lead you, delve deeper into these 4 pillars of scaling up. And it is going to be a very engaging session with lot many elements built into it. Because when we work with organization, it's a very long-term engagement, minimum a year. But if you want to understand what it is about and wants to figure out if this is something you really want to explore, then this is one day which you should definitely not miss out. I'm going to share the link for this, the registration link. You can share it within your organization, and anyone who thinks could benefit from out of this. Yes, Ajay, over to you.
So why don't you put out the feedback link also? We'd love you to give us a quick NPS score in terms of how did you find this session today? Because like we say, it's only when we measure something that we understand are we doing a good job or no. So we'll appreciate it. I know we are running late. So all the others will also send it over email who's joined in, and you could answer it here quickly. Just a one question, so it's not going to be.
Yeah, I'll just check how many have responded.
Yeah, but again, thank you very much. This is a monthly webinar series that we do, and we call in practitioners, we call in companies that have implemented, we call in people who have written some of the books that are related to scaling up. So there is a lot, and we've been doing this for more than a year now. So this is a continuous series. We do it every month. So please feel free to publicize it and join in every month for that matter, because you'll always learn something new, something unique that you could take back and leverage and utilize in your own business. At the end of the day, learning is what growing is all about. And Sunny is a living proof of that. How he reprogrammed his mind from whatever baggage that he carried out of his exposure in his early years to what he's turned himself into. And hats off for that kind of an turnaround and that change, because it takes a lot of commitment and drive to achieve that. But an essential part is learning. So this is just a process of adding on value to yourself and learning. This is a small contribution from our end towards that. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everyone. We have only 6 responses so far. So I would request you to fill up the feedback. It's just one question, which will help us make this better. Ajay, you still want me to show that? We have that. So I can go ahead.
You want to show what? The feedback?
The feedback, yeah, NPS.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So we have 8 now. And so the NPS is the scores, count of scores within 9 and 10 minus something which is less than 6. So we have 55 plus 33. So that's 88 minus 11. 88 minus 11 is 77 for that matter. So 77 is the NPS score, which is by any standard very high NPS score. So generally this is one way of measuring. It has only one question, just like what you see here. How likely are you to recommend my offerings to your closest friend? So NPS is the ultimate benchmark, and 78 is, I would say, is a quite good benchmark for that. Thank you everyone for giving your feedback.
Thank you. And thank you again, Sunny, for taking out time. Look forward
Thank you.
to all of
Thank you so much.
in the next webinar that we'll do. The next one is planned on the 27th of June. And we have some very interesting individual. This is Ravin Mirchandani, the chairman of the Adore Group, Portron Group. He's going to be joining us, and he's going to share. He's actually implemented scaling up in 3 of his businesses, 1 in Australia and 2 of them in India. So it's going to be some very interesting insights that we'll hear from him. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for this last 1 hour. I hope it is